All right, we live. We ready to go?
Good. Ready.
All right. What's up, Hirschbachers? It's unfortunately for everyone, it's not Brad. It's Chris Schmidt hosting the podcast this week. Got Austin Curtis joining me to start off. We're gonna have Christy Marshall with the wellness team come in as well, and then we're gonna finish it up with Kyle Ross talking about our Lineage fleet out in Conklin. So I think, the last week podcast talked about some survey results. We decided to dig in a little bit to some of the IT focused ones and get a true read on some of your feelings on some of that stuff. So we wanted to quickly go over those results with you today, just so kind of everyone can be on the same page and we can talk about that and help take that feedback and make things better. So I'll kick it over to Austin.
Right. Yep. Last week we were doing a more in-depth on after the quarterly survey on the results of the lowest score was the in-cab technology. So
I think you got to get a little closer, Austin. Yeah.
Yeah. They so last week we had 637 responses. 42% of you guys who responded preferred to use the phone. 15% preferred to use the tablet, and 42% preferred to use both, which is we prefer you to use a tablet, but if you're happy using the phone, you use what makes you happy. Percent of the other question was the percent of you that use Copilot was 38%. Little lower than we'd like to see. We'd like to see everybody using Copilot. It helps us know where you're going, make sure you're going where we want you to go, and get there safely. And the last two questions were the rating of routing in Copilot. That average was a 5 out of 10, and the rating of the fuel stops is a 5.3 out of 10. So we got some good results. Again, like 637, drivers, which is a good result. We're going to be sending out more surveys weekly. The quarterly one will come back out, every quarter. We just appreciate all your feedback and anything you can give us to help make everything better for you guys is what we want to do. So
sure. We
will get some more in the future in-depth questions relating back to those questions we had today to see what we can do to help you guys and make it a better experience for you using the app.
For sure. It's one thing. I mean, it's super easy to put together a survey and send it out and get results, but learning from it and getting better is what we need to make sure we're doing. So I know it's a couple minutes of your time, during the day, but we'd really like as much engagement and feedback on these surveys as we could get. It really help us take the next step. We know we have some work to do.
Yep.
For sure. Specifically on some of this, Copilot. We really want to know, and there are some issues, but we want to know why. So if there's some direct feedback, we'd love to hear that. We want to get that number higher. And then as far as the difference between using your phone and your tablet, I think I assume a lot of people are using their phone for more of the messaging, but when they're in the truck driving, I assume most of you guys are using the tablet, right? Yeah. So that's kind of a follow-up that I think we need to iron out and understand, and that helps explain those numbers a little bit more. So we appreciate the 600 plus of you that responded. It's going to be a weekly thing, and we're going to kind of change the topics as well as do the quarterly one that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yep. For now, that's it for the IT questions, but we'll get back to you in the future. And
thanks, Austin.
Yep.
All right. So as we get Christy in here, kind of segue. So on a weekly basis, we will talk about the survey, the previous week's results, and then talk about the new survey. And Christy is our COVID expert, which I never thought I would say in my life.
Right?
A year ago at this time, or maybe about a year and maybe 13 months ago.
I don't know if I ever thought I would be a COVID expert or something like that.
Well, you've done a tremendous job, Christy.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate it.
It has been a year for sure. I just wanted to pop on quick today. In your weekly survey, I know Austin just kind of gave a recap of last week's, but in this week's survey, it was in regards to COVID. It's just a couple short questions. Have you received the vaccine? Have you had 1 dose or 2 dose if it was a 2-dose vaccine? Are you interested in receiving the vaccine, and do you need any assistance? And as I think a lot of you are aware, if you are interested in receiving the vaccine and have done a little bit of research, it's definitely still a little scattered as far as how to go about that. So if you respond that you would like assistance in receiving the vaccine, that's where I'll come into play. I will definitely reach out to you and at least share the resources that I have currently as far as how to navigate that and do my best to help you find vaccine. From a positive standpoint, I do feel very strongly probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks it's going to be available just about everywhere, and it's going to become so much easier to receive vaccine. And I know too, Brad has shared as well, and again, I just looked before I came in too, that they're working on trying to get vaccine sites set up at fuel stops throughout the country too, to make it so much easier for you guys to get the vaccine, whether it be the single dose or the 2-dose series, so that you don't have to worry about trying to get back to a certain place at a certain time.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. We've got, it's going to be easier for people that aren't on the road, all the time the way you guys are. So we definitely have some work to do there. And the point of this survey, we're just trying to see, how we can help and what we can do. As Christy said, states are all doing different things. It's still kind of tricky to get them now. We were lucky enough in Iowa, most of the office staff was able to qualify because, we're a essential business. So that was good. And we want to help you guys get them for anyone who wants them, to get them as soon as you can as well. So this was every survey is important. This one is probably the most important one we've sent out so far. We want to get that help. So hopefully we overwhelm Christy with responses, and we add some more people to her team and help you guys try to figure out how to get those.
Absolutely. And also too, just if you have questions about the vaccine, I know there's so much information, and gosh, just like with about any topic that people have strong opinions on, whatever you find and look for, you're going to find that answer. But please know that I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have from the science backing of the vaccine too, if that's something that you have questions about.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Christy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, so shift out of survey mode a little bit into freight mode. We got our the northeast guy logging in right now, Kyle, right?
Hey everyone, how's it going?
So how's business? How's the freight market, Kyle?
Oh, business is strong. There's all kinds of opportunities out there.
How many more loads than trucks do you have today for the weekend?
Oh, probably 50 to 60, I would say.
Just
overall,
overall.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got plenty of work to do today. If anyone wants to step up and drop a load early, we can. With turn and burn, there's lots of trucking terms for them. Some of them. So I like the turn and burn.
We always look for those cum trucks. Is how Dan
trucks
calls them.
I don't know if I like that verbiage, but yeah, that's what Dan calls them.
But yeah, like Dan said, or like Chris said. If you're getting into an area early, get with your DM so that we can get with the planner and work on keeping you moving through the weekend.
Yeah. Over-road drivers are just kicking butt, I should say. There are lots of miles this week, load counts off the chart. We've got to make sure, when we start hitting those numbers, we got to make sure we don't leave service, behind us. We got to make sure we stay servicing the customer, But the network, the market, over the road's turning and burning. You guys are doing a great job, and if anyone wants any more miles, I can tell you that they're available. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Kyle?
definitely.
For sure. Okay, so just wanted to, the kind of final topic for the podcast, we wanted to talk about Lineage. So I know I've talked about it on a podcast probably a month or two ago about, the overall, what this Lineage/Amazon account is. And essentially it's Amazon Fresh. Everyone knows who and what Amazon is, but they started off. Man, I think I had a college account when Prime first started because I got it for a discount. So I shouldn't say a date range, that'll age me a little bit. But they started off as like, what's this crazy idea, and then they, it's turned into what it is today. And I think we're kind of at that infancy stage with fresh groceries and that sort of delivery. So this is kind of their first foray into the grocery delivery, and we're kind of on the front step with them as we expect this thing to grow exponentially. So this is kind of the first step, and essentially we've got they ship inbound truckloads into cold storages across the country, and we are taking they're kind of taking those full truckloads, mixing them, and we're taking them out to hubs, is what they're called, right? Or spokes.
Yeah, we call them
Spokes. And then they're the smaller, the day cab, not even day cabs, the smaller delivery vans, take those out and start delivering them to houses once they work them at those. So it's not as easy. It's a little bit different than hauling a regular load. And I just wanted to bring Kyle on just to kind of do a refresher on what we're doing, how it works on the over the road side.
Yeah. So we'll just kind of go with a little bit of an overview. We started hauling this freight February 1st. We've got 20 drop trailers there, so everything's loaded on a drop. The bad thing with starting in February was out in the Northeast there, we had about 4 weeks of storms.
Are you sure? I thought it was pretty mild winter out there.
Yeah, no.
Kyle.
So, starting up a new account, it's new, you have your growing pains, and then to throw the weather in on top of that, it was a little bit of a rocky start, but it's starting to smooth out. Like Chris said, this is going to Amazon Fresh grocery stores. Majority of the lanes that we are running are multi-stops. We have one straight shot going to Colorado. But the other destinations we're going is Texas, Florida, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana. So it's good length of haul for the driver. With the multi-stops, they're getting the added pay for the stop pay and everything. The shipping schedule is Sunday through Friday. They don't ship on Saturdays. And it's a set sailing schedule. So we have the same loads every week, every day. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's usually the cooler loads. And then Thursday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday would be like the frozen loads.
Gotcha.
That's not multi-temp loads or anything, but it is all mixed product. And then, going to the spokes, and then, as you said, they package it however the customer orders it, and then it's a last mile delivery that they deal with vans, or I think they're using like Uber Eats, things like that to get it delivered. Yep. So, it's a pretty straightforward account. Probably the biggest thing that we ask of the drivers, it's new to Hirschbach, it's new to Amazon, and it's new to Lineage. So it's a growing process. It's a learning process for all of us. We're having issues where, we're getting to some of these spokes and they're saying they can't take the product. Part of that is a communication issue from Amazon to their spokes, but we can get the product received. Sometimes, we just have to be a little bit patient. I know it can get frustrating out there when you're sitting there waiting for answers. We get frustrated in the office as well. Yeah. It's something that we're working through with Amazon. We're trying to work out the kinks still. So any kind of feedback or anything that you guys can let us know that you're seeing out there, we welcome that feedback so that we can pass that on to the customer.
Yeah, this is different. Refusals or OS&D. This is different than what we're normally doing. Right. If you're taking a Smithfield load to a Walmart DC and they reject the load, that load is rejected. They are not going to take that load, right?
Correct.
Right, Kyle? Yeah. Because of how new this process is, and sometimes the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, and that's kind of, unfortunately, we're in a little bit of the middle of that. But we're having a short-term sacrifice for a big long-term gain. We feel very strongly about the growth of this count and how good this will be for Hirschbach, and which means good for you, the driver. But the OS. So I guess where I'm going is the OS&D is just a totally different process. And if you get rejected on one of these loads, there's probably a 90% chance that they're going to take that. It just might take an extra phone call or an extra half hour or an hour of waiting, but the right person has to call the right person and say, no, you need to take this, and then figure out this other, whatever other reason, and then it gets taken. So it's a different way to think about it, to look at it, and to experience. I'm sure that's not a process that most of us internally or you guys are used to, right?
Yeah. So like you said, majority of the time it's not OS&D. It's just either they don't have the room for the product, or they weren't aware of the appointment.
Right.
And then once we get Amazon involved, with it being their grocery store, they can usually get us received.
Right.
It's either that or they'll advise us just to move on to the next stop, and then gives them time to make room for that product too.
For sure, and it's a brand new process that we're working through. They're working through, and let's just have some patience. It's a short term thing. We don't anticipate doing this for a year and having the same issues.
Right.
If we do, we won't be doing the business for a year, right?
Yep.
Kyle? Yeah. We got enough. Kyle and I still have the hair on our heads. We don't want to be up here.
I do have a few gray spots.
Yeah, I got a couple too. But yeah, we don't want to sit up here like looking like Dan Wallace, and that's what'll happen if we keep having this issue for a year, right? Okay. So I think a big thing to talk about is what the drivers are expected, what we need, what Amazon expects us to do when we get there, get to these positions,
right?
Because that part's different than most of our deliveries as well, right, Kyle?
Correct. It is expected that it is a driver unload. Okay, so Amazon does not allow their employees to get into the back of our trailers. Majority of the spokes that we go to have electric pallet jacks. If not, they have a hand pallet jack. So we are required to pull the pallets from the back of the trailer onto the loading dock. We're not required to break it down or count it or anything. Basically, there's a few spokes that do not have electric pallet jacks, which we're working on a solution for that.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it's an electric pallet jack. You pull the pallet off. They're easily marked and identified, so you know which pallets go to which spoke. But as soon as you pull that off, then it's in their hands, and we don't do anything else with it.
What's the driver get for doing that, Kyle?
It's $75 a load.
Okay. So there's a little bit of extra incentive there to haul these loads, right?
You get with the good miles, the stop pay, and then you turn in a handwritten receipt stating that you pulled the pallets off the trailer, turn that in with your trip sheet, and that'll be on your pay.
Cool. Sounds good.
And to that point, we've had some issues with some pallets tipping over a little bit. Now, if it's an entire pallet that's tipped over, we can get assistance out there to help and get it restacked. If it's a few boxes and we're asking the driver to restack that pallet, we will compensate you for that as well. Just make sure you're getting with your DM, and we'll get you taken care of.
Yeah, for sure. Take some pictures and get with your DM, and I would definitely want to compensate for you guys for if you're doing some extra work out there, for sure. I mean, that's the name of the game. So, absolutely. Anything else, Kyle?
Just kind of touch back on how for Amazon, Lineage, and Hirschbach, this is all new. We're, right in the front door with them. Could create a huge opportunity for Hirschbach going forward. Service is key, and just give us as much feedback as you can.
For sure.
We have with this being new for all three of us, we have a lot of say that we can take to Amazon and try and make this fit perfectly for us. So the more feedback, the more, then we can go to the customer and tailor it kind of to our needs.
For sure. I mean, yeah, Amazon knows what they're doing on the dry side, but this is they're figuring out the refrigerated, and it's so. I think you said 37 loads a week or so.
Yep.
As this thing is fully matured, it's like 70 loads a week, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And and this is just so again, we're at the whatever you want to call it. We're at the start of this relationship, and I fully anticipate it's only going to grow. I mean, people. I assume you wouldn't mind just having your groceries delivered and not having to go grocery shopping, right, Kyle?
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go get my groceries, so.
Right. Those are things you and that your significant other could do, right? Yes. So I think it's only going to grow, and so just think about it. So 70 loads a week, we know are shipping. They're exactly the same. Shipping the same day of the week to the same place every week. Consistency. Right?
Yep.
What does that, if that grows and it grows to 200 loads, 300 loads a week, and say we keep doing all of them, what does that mean for a driver? That means consistency of knowing what they're doing, where they're going. They know who they're delivering to, as well as getting some home time, right? We can start hiring and finding drivers, whether en route or near the spokes or near the receipt or near the shipper, and just building. I mean, at the end of we want to build fleets and have a fleet to get drivers home as much as possible. Right.
Well,
that's what we want to do.
Yeah. With the set sailing schedule, we know every Thursday we're going to have a load delivering into Florida, or every Friday one going into Texas. So if you need home, we know we can get you to Conklin and get you on that load home.
Yep, absolutely.
Pretty much anything within 200 miles of Conklin, there's a good chance you're going to be hauling one of those loads.
For sure. So huge opportunity for all of us. We know you guys had some issues. There's some frustrations out there. It's same as in here. Let's work together on the same team and get through this. 'Cause it's only going to be good for us. That's for sure. All right. Anything else, Kyle?
No, I think I'm good. I just want to wish everyone a happy Easter and be safe out there.
Yeah, for sure. We looks like we might have a couple questions. I will echo that. Happy Easter. Have a good Easter weekend, and definitely stay safe. So we got a couple here. We got a driver saying a lot of stops on the app. A lot of these spokes are not set up for trucks our size. So we are working on that. Do you know how many off the top of your head? I think there's 3.
So we have the dedicated account that does the regional stuff. I know some of them are pretty tight to get into. Like the first load we did down into Chicago was.
Yeah. So what we're doing is some of these are temporary locations as Amazon gets this ramped up. So there's kind of 2 parts to this. On the dedicated side, we're looking at having someone else redeliver some of these. Some of these. I don't know if the New York City ones are really tough to get to. So we're exploring that, and then we're also giving some feedback on some of these other ones that are just not set up for our trucks, because we don't want to put you guys in positions to fail. That's for sure. We got Tina asking, what's the pay? So essentially, if I don't know the pay off the top of my head. We were talking more about over the road. So if you're an over the road driver, it's the same. It's the over the road pay plus the unloading, and then you get the stop pay as well. As far as the if you live up in Conklin or in the Northeast and you're interested on it, where you can reach out to Josh Delaney. He's got the exact details. If you're interested in joining this fleet, okay. And then Tina says, turn and burn, not on the water fleet. You're correct. We do have some drops and hooks, but I get what you're saying there, Tina. So.
I'd like to address Data Writer on the manual pallet jacks.
Oh,
yeah. That's the kind of feedback that we need to get so that we know where we can look into making it more efficient for you guys. I know there's one. I think the spoke in Milwaukee doesn't have an electric pallet jack. We're looking at supplying them basically with one or getting Amazon to get one in there so that it's easier for you guys to do the unloads. So getting that kind of feedback, getting it to your DM, let them know, hey, these have hand jacks instead of electric ones. Then we can take that to the customer and we can work on correcting it.
Yeah. And we know there's issues. I mean, that's why we're sitting here talking to you. But give us the feedback. Give us some time to fix it. As I said, if we don't have it fixed in a year, we won't be asking you to do this. But we just started this in the middle of a crazy month of snow, and it's just, let's work through this. I know it's going to get better. Okay? All right. Sounds good, guys. Happy Easter and stay safe. See you later.